to Washington Football Week with your host, one half of that dynamic duo, Sean Spencer, and South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer.
Don't play us if you're undefeated.
Where we celebrate past success while looking to a bright future. There's a youth movement in Washington, and they're ready to take the reins. Led by fire.
Play aggressive, D.
It's a new day. New dawn. No longer the laughing stock. It's time to take command.
All right. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? You know this is your boy Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that's Let's Talk Football. And it's Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Hump Day! And you see on with the coolest guy in South Carolina, Will Kramer. What up, Will?
Oh, man. When you just sat there looking at me, I thought it was my internet not working. And I was like, oh, no, this isn't going to work.
Well, the opening video kind of froze in the middle of it, so I'm like reciting it in my head. All right, what's next? What's next? And then all of a sudden it came live. I was like, and then we froze. I was like,
you're like,
much like our team this weekend, ladies and gentlemen,
yes.
We are back. Washington Football Weekly. Welcome. We see a bunch of you that were waiting for us in the chat. We're here. We got a jam-packed show with you. And we are excited. But we gotta do something first. Cause when my guy goes around the sun one more time, we gotta shout him out. Hey. Happy birthday to my dude, one half of Washington Football Weekly, Mr. Will Kramer. Sir, how's it feel to be 1 year older? Still kicking, still doing your thing, man. What's up?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I think with this health kick I've been on for the last year or two, I'm going to be healthier and feel better in my 40s than I might in my 30s. So might not be a bad thing.
You're not actively sabotaging your body every weekend.
That's exactly it. I actually enjoy things like working out and eating healthy and sleeping. Like, whoa, what a concept. Yeah. So I love that sabotaging your body on the weekend.
Yes, we're not kind back in the day, but yes, ladies and gentlemen, my guy will hit me and another friend of mine up. We're all in the group chat talking Washington, and he'll hit me up. He'll hit us up early. Sometimes I'll be rolling out of bed, and he'll hit up early like, I just got back from my run. I'm good. I'm feeling good. And I'm just like,
yeah.
I think I'm back. I don't know if Will is.
I'm here. I can hear you.
Oh, man. But look, happy birthday. This looks like our daggone offense, man.
There we go. Now it's clicking.
Oh, okay. We're back. Yeah. It might be me as well. I'm not sure, but I think we're good. Those in the comments, let us know if everything's good. But happy birthday to you, man. You do anything fun, man, for your birthday?
Yeah, did we do anything a whole lot of fun? We had some fun things here and there. We celebrated. My kids were a little bit surprised with this. We did Sundays instead of cake. I really wasn't kind of feeling cake this year. And the funny kind of story is, so Patrick has seen. He's my 5-year-old. What Sunday. He's like, we need to get cherries, and we kind of looked at him. And we're like, we don't eat cherries. Do you like cherries? He said, yeah. Well, he was thinking back to the time over the summer where we got those Michigan cherries, when it's ripe and cherry season, and they are delicious. I got a bag of them one time. So he went ahead and we got him, but he went and picked out those store-bought ripe, those bright red cherries, and he had one. his face just like you could just tell. We're like, "Do you like it?" And he was like, "Yeah," but he was chewing it down, just like hating it. So it was kind of fun. I was like, "You don't have to eat those," but in his mind, that's a sundae has cherries on it, so we had to make sure he had that. So that was kind of fun. Well, shoot. Sean, you able to hear me? Oh, okay.
Are we back?
We are. I guess we're back. I don't know why, but I just had a picture of you like this the whole time.
Yeah.
Just staring at it.
Because I'm sitting here and I'm seeing it circle around, and I'm like, oh, here we go. But look, let's go ahead.
We'll give this a try, and if my hotspot doesn't work, then we'll know that it wasn't meant to be.
Yep. Look, saying, hey, stage fright. Look, hey, we're here. Ain't no stage fright. Let's go ahead. Week 1. As you saw, we had the Tampa guys on here a week ago to talk about the game, and they were right. They got the W. Tampa beat us 37-20. So glad, and I feel like we say this every year, but so glad we're talking on Wednesday and not Sunday, because I was on a warpath on Sunday. But again, Will, you reminded me, a number of people reminded me, it's only week 1, and technically, we kind of expected this with a lot of the holes on our team, man. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, having the perspective, like you said, the fact that we're talking on Wednesday helps out a lot. But we had fun with Johnny and Ben on here and said, oh yeah, we're gonna win this, we're gonna do that, and I also woke up Sunday morning going, Tampa is a better team with us. I really don't think we're gonna match up with them, and that is what happened. And we really did absolutely get beat by the better team. We got stomped by the better team. I wasn't expecting that. I honestly thought this new coaching staff would bring on an instant improvement. Not 15 wins, but like our secondary wouldn't suck like it did last year.
Right.
So that really did surprise me how inept they looked at times. But like you said, losing the game, I really was just like, let's hope we can do this.
Yeah, and I've talked to you guys. Like you were talking about, you want that instant turnaround from the coaches. That's what I wanted from the quarterback position. And if you look at the stats, obviously we'll get into this with the offense. The stats. And all right, here we go. Yeah, like I said, you look at the stats, they look fine. 184 yards, obviously 88 on the ground, 2 TDs, all that stuff. But a lot of that stuff was done in garbage time. Our best drive was in the third quarter, late in the third quarter, when the game was already pretty much out of hand. And then we get the touchdown at the very end of the ball game. So for me, I wanted something more. I wanted to complete drives down the field. And now, yes, that might mean kicking field goals, which we didn't do much of, didn't do well. But it's still, I wanted to see Jaden drive us down the field, get ahead of the chains, and really, truly make an impact, not so much with his legs, but just with just driving us, just being the leader. And I didn't see that. But again, week 1, still got a lot of holes at wide receiver and things like that. So, it was – I'm trying to be positive at this moment because I was not on Sunday.
Absolutely. But it was still fun to have it back. It was still fun to there was excitement starting a rookie quarterback, and some of the stuff there. So it'll be fun when we talk offense because you and I probably have different views on his performance. That's good. Never a bad thing.
Yeah. And look, but – matter of fact, let's go into it. Let's talk about the offense, how they looked. Obviously, I've mentioned my stance on it. Look, let me talk about some of the positives first. We matched them on first downs. Both had 21 first downs. we equaled their number of drives. Didn't do as well in yards, but we were catching up a little late. We equaled them on penalties. Both of us only had 7 penalties, us for 51, number 46. That's one of the things I kind of want to see. We cleaned things up. Now, there were some penalties and inopportune times, and I understand that, but we didn't look, certain things didn't look as awful. We were 3 for 3 in the red zone. These are things that we can build on that I like. Now, mind you, again, like I said, the timing of some of these, later in the game, and it really didn't matter as much, but still, these are little things that I feel like are going to help us progress. And I'm looking at it as a whole because I don't want to single anything out. Talk to me about that. I mean, like as a whole, and then let's go into individual success.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're also very kind if you're saying that, we're tied on first downs. And
trying to be positive. I also shouted out our kickers, and we see that hasn't been great this preseason.
You're the kicker. First, you're the quarterback curse for this franchise. Now you're the kicker curse for 2024. Sean, we gotta watch on all these like nice words you keep saying. Yeah, right? I mean, yeah. Here's what's kind of interesting, and actually, I've got to give Ab some credit in our chat when he said something about I didn't see a whole lot of like effort out of them. And I know we're gonna get into like the cons, but it was sort of like that very first play in Jaden Daniels' career, and he throws it backwards for 15 yards.
Yes.
And that's what today's going to be. All right, so let's lower our expectations here. We know what this is going to be, but I saw a lot of building blocks out there. You saw a lot of things to be encouraged about. More of them offensively, I think, than defensively. But with the quarterback himself, he brought some excitement, and so yeah. I mean, overall, it's like there's not a lot to be happy about, but there also were a couple plays. If they hit them, it's different ball games. And we didn't execute that. So I'm kind of like, well, what if he had hit that pass to Terry? What if the other play that we'll get into?
Oh yeah. And we'll talk to defense after this, but early on, our defense was putting us in positions to be successful. I mean, you look at the first couple drives, we held them to field goals when it was very clear that they were able to move the ball down. Now, I think there was a play they had to McMillan early that they ended up hitting for a touchdown later that they overthrew him. So we got a pass on it, but still we're holding them to field goals early on. And to your point, we get that early start to the drive and we're already falling behind. And that was one of the things that I had an issue with. We talked about last year, we can't get behind the chains. That was something that happened a lot. And we saw we cannot overcome that. We still haven't got to that place where we can overcome getting behind the chains, which happened a lot. First drive, you saw exactly what happened. We know the kickers. We'll get into that in special teams and all that. But I do want to shoot out some positives. Okay, other that are a little more positive than the things I was talking about earlier. No turnovers. That was big. We said let's win the turnover battle, where we tied it. We didn't have any turnovers, neither did they. So I'm good with that. Only 2 sacks. Mm-hmm. That coming off the season that we had last year with Sam getting sacked almost the record number of times. This was big. Now you mentioned something to us and Ab and I in the group chat that maybe it was some of Jaden's mobility and his him not having any hesitation to run that kind of stopped them from getting to him, which was great because it wasn't that their pass rush wasn't getting, but we were moving the ball down the field from time to time, and that's the kind of the problem, because if you look at this play by play and you look at some of the things, there is excitement there, Will. Like Jaden was getting the ball out quick. Obviously, you see when he turns the corner, he does have that speed. Now, he's got to get himself to this point where he can't keep thinking linebackers and D tackles aren't as fast as him, because they're not like you're playing daggone Vanderbilt or South Carolina where you can just run right around them in circles. You like that? Yeah. But still, you have things to build on. Both the running backs, they didn't have as many rushing yards. I think Brian Robinson only had 40, and I know Eckler only had couple carries, but they were killer in the pass game. And in fact, combined, I believe had like 100 yards receiving. I know Eckler had like 53, and then I think B-Rob had 40 something. But that was huge in our attack, the running game, and how big that we were able to use both of those. So there are a couple positives in there, Will. Like there's a couple things to your point that we can build off, but there were also negatives, Will. And they had me fuming on Sunday, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. So looking at the positives, I really like the use of the running backs. I thought we'd get a little bit more out of B-Rob, like you mentioned, and he really couldn't get a whole lot going, although there were some decent runs from here or there. That touchdown run, that 8-yard touchdown run, he had, he ran hard. That's what I'm looking for out of him. Run violently with the ball. I like that. Austin Eckler showed me that there's a lot of something there. And it's not just, so his running, he had 2 carries for about 11 yards. One of them was a 6-yarder that he kind of broke off. He was involved in the pass game. We all knew, like, Austin Eckler is a great pass receiver. Yes. But that just hasn't been our game. Like you said it weeks ago, like, what if we can use him like we used to use Larry Sanders back in the day? And Larry Sanders was catching 60 to 80 passes for us for a couple of years, and he was such a threat. And there was a play there on 3rd down where it was like 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15. And Jaden kind of gave it up on a give-up play. He threw a little 6-yard pass, maybe 7-yarders to Eckler. Well, he spun, broke the tackle, got a burst, and turned it into a 22-yard play or 30-yard play. And that was an example of, like, you don't have to get it to the sticks every time. Give your guys a chance to do something with it. And good things can happen. They won't always happen, but they will. But I think ultimately the most positive part of the offense was our quarterback play. I think we can walk out of here. There are things we can nitpick with this kid on his very first start. I got no problem if people want to nitpick, but I think we also have the ability to walk away saying, we got ourselves a player at quarterback. We got ourselves a weapon at quarterback. Now, there are things he does need to learn to get better, but he's a threat back there right now. He's a threat with his legs for certain. And we believe he can become a threat with his arm, and that he's electric back there. You said we only had 2 sacks. Well, he saved about like 3 others because he just bailed on it and took off. But I don't know if there was a running play out there outside the tackles that he got caught on. When he went inside, that can't be your game. You're not big enough to be doing this. You're not Jalen Hurts.
Right.
But when he ran outside the tackles, I feel like he got the first downs that he needed to, or he got enough positive yards where I was like, keep doing it. So I'll kind of stop there on Jaden, let you talk. I got a couple other things from him.
Well, yeah, and I think to your point, when he ran outside and cut it up quick, when he tried to outrun them all the way to the sideline, you saw the one play where he had to hop over the guy because they can get that angle out on him. But yeah, to your point, once he got out of the pocket and turned it upfield, I mean, that's good. That speed was electric. And to your point, okay. But I think to your point, in the second half, when he starts settling down, and you talked about the pass to Eckler, he had a pass right before they scored on that drive into the 3rd quarter where he hit B-Rob across the middle. And it was a little take what the defense gave you, a little dunk across the middle that B-Rob ends up taking up the field and almost scoring. I thought he got in, but, they said he was stopped at the 1-yard line. But to your point, like, the running backs, the wide receivers were not getting touches. The wide receiver, we know Terry didn't even get like a target until, later in the game. And I think our leading receiver was a running back, and it was like Eckler. You know what I mean? Like, our receivers, Diami, Luke, those guys weren't getting we don't know if they weren't getting open, they weren't getting look, whatever. But he had to go to those running backs. And once he started doing that, take what the defense give you, you see that the offense starts to move a little bit. So to that point, look, yes, he's definitely young. He's still green, but you did have a feeling that there was a comfortability about it. Like you're just like, okay, we're gonna be good once he knows his offense in and out. Once we get the team around him, he's going to be good. But then I think we also have to think about the other part to this, and no disrespect to the Tampa fans, because y'all did a great job. Y'all did a great job to shut down. You talked to me about it. Shut down Terry and basically say, "Hey, go this rookie. Diami hasn't done anything. Let them beat us." And so towards the end, they just started sitting back in that zone and letting everything happen underneath them. And we're gonna get to how we can eventually improve and get back to that, but it's just a lot of little learning curves, a lot of things that we can work out, and you can definitely tell with him there. Okay, we have a chance. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, is it gonna happen? It's like, okay, he'll do it, and he might make a mistake, but if he makes it full speed, doing something that's positive, okay, I can work with that. I can deal with that. I learned a little bit more myself, but we're good.
I mean, we all did. We all were kind of thinking he would burst onto the scene and have a tremendous debut. I think one of the things, that you said it, no turnovers. You could tell he was pretty calm out there. He didn't look like a rookie that was sitting here like, wide-eyed wondering, what am I doing out here? But to Tampa's credit, we talked about that in the beginning. Like they were confusing him out there. I also noticed that, Cliff Kingsbury, we had said, let's make an easy game plan. And he did that. He did not have any passes that were going beyond the line of scrimmage for a while, and then when he did have to go downfield, it didn't work, unfortunately. So I think there's, he just showed there's a lot to build on, a lot to like. But tell me if you've got any more positives. I don't. I've got some negatives about his day.
Oh, yeah. Talk to me. I got a bunch, so go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, okay, of the three quarterbacks, the rookie quarterbacks that made their debut on Sunday, he has the best yards. He did great for my fantasy team on my bench.
I've heard that a lot.
But he had less than 100 yards passing before we hit garbage time in the fourth quarter. So I'm not counting. He didn't throw for 184 yards, in my opinion. You can throw for 184 and be efficient. He didn't. He threw for about 100 yards. And then that throw to Terry, like, we got to have that. Yeah. That has to hit, because Terry was 2 steps in front of, past that corner. Like that, you got to be able to drop that in. And it's got to be a play. And that would have been a huge momentum change. At the start of the third quarter, you go from 16-7, 16-13, right off the bat. It's like they dialed it up. They took their shot. We are expecting you to be able to hit that. So I think there's that. And then, it's got to be careful with his runs. I don't have a problem right now with the tumbles right now. I mean, I'd rather see the tumbles than kind of RG3 would just go barrel into people. So I'm okay with that, but he's got to just remember, we need to protect the body. We got 17 games here.
And we also need to protect the ball. Over. Oh yeah, no, and we also need to protect the ball. And I know, and we said no turnovers. Well, there was still 3 fumbles, so he's still kind of loose with that. And to your point, there was a lot of good action. There was a lot of good highlights, and look at the speed, and look at the dot he threw, and look at this, look at that. But what was the one thing I kept telling you guys, and I told you guys like on Monday, we're not completing drives. This is all nice and dandy if we're getting flashes and we're doing all this fancy stuff, but we were still 2 of 8 on third down. We weren't completing anything, and that to me was kind of, it was an issue, because to your point, we didn't have over 100 yards until later in the game. We weren't staying on the field, so our defense was having to work overtime to stop these guys, and we already knew the issues that they had. And it just seemed like there was not a lot of 3 and outs, but also just like I talked about, we continue to get behind the chains. We continue to put our guys in situations that weren't advantageous for them. So now all of a sudden, we have to get more. We're having to do these. A lot of that play, the one you talked about, was 3rd and long, where Eckler gets the pass and was able to make the play. And to what's his name? Johnny saying, they had to play zone because they had coverage help. We didn't take advantage, with the exception of that one play where we went deep to Terry. We didn't try to take advantage. We didn't try to exploit that. And I thought that was something that might be a little bit more on Cliff, where it's like, let's take more shots. Let's try to get down the field and at least get that defense to step back a little bit. So maybe that underneath will open up like it did later in the ball game. So for me, I had an issue just with, surface value. Everybody keeps throwing me the stats, and like Johnny said, most rushing yards are a debut of the quarterback and yada yada. That's great, and like you were saying, they're fantasy. That's great, but it didn't look pretty. And we were in the game. It was 16-7 at half, and they hit a field goal late in the first half. Like, we were in that game, but we could not seem to get down the field and score, and that's the problem I'm having. Because give me a quarterback that's an average quarterback. If he can lead us down the field and score, I'm good. As opposed to somebody that's flashing all this stuff and is continually 3 and outs. I got a problem with that, because we got to be able to keep pace with teams, especially if we're going to go up a playoff team like this, which we have 2 of in our division.
Right. Absolutely. One of the things that was kind of disappointing to me and a little surprising is we didn't hit on some big plays. We already kind of talked about the deep ball to Terry that could have been, a big play, but also that reverse with Luke. If you look at the all-22, I've seen people take screenshots. I'm kind of surprised as to why he didn't throw the ball. I haven't heard yet if they gave any explanation, but basically he was supposed to throw the ball back to Jaden across the field. Right. And we had 3 offensive linemen out there ready for him, and it's like it didn't. So it's like, I'm going to criticize Cliff in just a second here, but it's also like, he dialed up like 2 plays that were like, if you execute what was dialed up, that they could have changed things around. But also, to your point, we were kind of playing from behind, because when we get to the defense here in a second, which I think is going to be a pretty quick segment, because there wasn't a lot of good, and we all know what the bad was. We were playing catch up the entire game. The entire game we had to be catching up on scores. So my last negative has to do with Cliff Kingsbury. I'm going to say this: don't waste JD5. Okay, we don't need to have runs up the middle. We also don't need to have a quarterback keeper down at the end zone when we're down 30 points in the 4th quarter. That is not necessary. When if you can do one of 2 things, you don't run the read option if that's how he scored. I was kind of bathing the kids at this point because it was a read option and he kept it. Okay, so we take that out of the playbook when we're down that much and this score doesn't matter. It's a handoff or a pass. This is what we're calling, because you don't need to run the play that he goes running up the middle and gets hit when you're down 30. Right. So let's be smart with how we're running. They've already come out to say that 16 to 18 times a game is too much. That wasn't in the game plan, it's just the way the game turned out. And I believe them. But we can also be smart about when we're calling the opportunities to let him run. You don't need to run the read options when you're down that much. Let's work on some pass plays. Let's work on red zone pass concepts and something like that. Or you say, hey, Brian Robinson, we're going to give you 3 times to try and get a touchdown and get something here. And that's what you do, because whether it's 13 or 20 points, it doesn't matter in the grand schemes here. So that would be my only complaint, is like, let's be smart about when we run it.
Yeah, and again, we don't know if, because we have had a big kicking problem in camp and into this first game, so we don't know how Cliff has maybe trying to cover that up by getting downfield or doing whatever. But my thing to Cliff is, use what you have. We saw in the second half you started using the running backs, Ertz, to get some attention. If the wide receivers ain't doing it, all right, fine. Let's start doing it like we did the second half and get this ball to the guys that are open and just do high percentage passes and get up the field. What happened to all these plays that we were calling in preseason? And I know preseason one thing, this might be different, but still, quick screen out here, high percentage, short underneath stuff. give him some passes to where we are getting upfield, moving the ball downfield, and we're always getting positive gains. We can't control that first play with Jaden. Although I don't know that I would have called this, that swing pass or whatever it is on the first play of the game. I still want to move forward, but you got to give him places where he can succeed. And especially if we know we have issues out there at wide receiver, that's fine. Well, let's give him things that are going to be quick to the point up the field and just do what we have to do. So, yeah, I'm with it. What is going on, Jared?
And he's not wrong there. He was running for his life at times.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think he saw that because as Will and I talked about with Ab, there was times where one look, see the pressure, and he was gone. And everybody looks at it like, oh, man, look how fast he is. And if you saw on the other side, when we were all over Baker, but even when he broke out of that, first thing he did was look upfield, which leads us to our defense, Will. Bobby Wagner had 10 tackles. So,
hey.
and 3 tackles for loss. And as a team, we had 8 tackles for loss. And I think that's the positive portion of the defense.
I got a positive. I got 2 positives.
Pass rush. Our pass rush was good. We couldn't get him down, but we were pressuring. Okay, what you got?
And it was who was pass rushing. We were getting interior pass rush with Payne and Allen. That's the part that I really liked. We've wanted to see them do more. We've wanted to see them penetrate a whole lot more. And they're not just being Fat Stubblefield and Fat Wilkinson, from years ago that just stood there and clogged the lanes right there. And so I enjoyed that part because obviously I think if you can get interior pass rush, that's only going to make it harder for a quarterback that could give you a chance in the DBs, but also then it'll give your outside guys a chance. So I love that they were being disrupted. And that was a change that the coaches said they were going to bring in. So that's kind of that is a positive there. Like they instantly said, we're not just going to be running from the outside, chasing Montez Smead at the quarterback. We want some interior push. So I like that. I also saw Jamin make a splash play as a tackle. He's backing up Cleveland Farrell, and he made a play. I was like, it's small potatoes. We don't have a lot to talk about positive-wise, but that was great to see his progression out there. He's playing. He's active. That's a big thing. And there's ultimately with that pass rush, we got to finish. So many times they got their hands on Baker, and he would, run out of it, and he'd make a play. It's like we had a chance to have a better day defensively. And this secondary, they need you to make these plays right now. Yes. They can't cover it. So those are my positives. I don't know if you got anything else before we get into the obvious negatives.
We held them to 3 of 5 in the red zone.
Hey, okay. So when they got there every trip, but we didn't give up touchdowns. Okay, good.
Yeah. That's about it. There you go. I will shout out your boy. I will shout out Quan. Quan Martin had 9 tackles, 8 solo, and that's a double-edged sword because it's positive because he's your boy showing up like you said. But if we know he's the last line of defense. So if he's making, and he was second in tackles, if he's making all the tackles, we see what's happening. In that second half, let's go into the negatives. That second half, well, look, that first half, that's my list, my last positive, that first half. I actually thought, going back and watching, with how our offense was only had that 1 touchdown and was missing field goals and everything, they kept us in the game. They were holding Tampa to field goals. They were providing the pressure. And even you look at the touchdown to Mike Evans, the first one, I won't say a lot about St. Jude's, but he was right there. He tried to turn his head around. He had his hand. That was just a pass where the quarterback and the wide receiver are on the same page, and they were just insane. You can't do anything about that. But like you talked to me about, there was many other times where you're looking at him like, what are you doing? And I get it if we're talking scramble drill because holding your coverage for 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds with these elite receivers is going to be difficult for any team. Yeah. But this is even on plays where he's dropping back and he's right there. You see the route coming and you're not, what are you doing out there? So part of me, we already know this is bad because you and I have talked about, that was something we were extremely concerned with. One of my keys to victory was our front seven has to get to Baker and disrupt him. We were able to disrupt him, but he was still able to break out of there and either run or get the passes off. And it stunk. It killed me because we knew what was coming, and then there it was right in front of us.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, you're kind to shout out my boy Quan, but he was the best of a bad bunch, you know. And even the rookie who had a great training camp did not have a good debut, you know, in his first game. Sanders still, you know, he gave up that touchdown, and you know he gave up other catches, and him and Quan had the foobar where no one covered McMillan, and so he was wide open, you know. So yeah, I mean, as we've said, our concern was, could we stop the wide receivers? 14 catches for over 170 yards. The answer was no. We gave up 6 catches for 75 yards to a running back, Rashad White. So we got torched for over 250 yards in the air like that. Like not good. And the reality is we probably have at least one, if not two, different starting corners next season. But we have 16 more games to play with these guys. And it was atrocious. I think 7 of 8 possessions they scored on.
Yeah.
Not going to do it.
Nah. It's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. And to this point, what's Jared saying? Would it be crazy to move Allen and Payne up and down the line and create the mismatch? It's one of some of the things that we thought was going to happen. We thought they were going to do a little bit more of, you know, moving these guys and roaming around. But to your point, they were with that front four, or maybe 5 guys. We were getting pressure. We were definitely moving the pocket. But I mean, this is great, and moving the pocket's great, and getting pressure is great. But if you don't get home, and especially if you leave a veteran quarterback that's no slouch, this guy's a former Heisman Trophy winner. If you leave him out there, he's gonna exploit you. And once we got to the secondary, we knew what it was. I mean, once he got out of there, you're just like, oh, shoot, please run. Yeah. Because if you pass it, you're gonna torch us. And we said that last week.
Right. I feel you.
So, yeah, nothing positive. And we talk about all the drives they had. They were 9 of 13 on third down. They almost gave up 400 yards total. And I know I mentioned that we both had 21, but that all first downs. But that means we gave up 21 first downs. And in that second half, to your point, Bucky Irving and Rashad White, who, Johnny, I know you said you don't like them going east to west, but they weren't going east to west on us. They were going north and south. And then it was mainly just downhill, running us down there. Yep. Don't forget you gave up. But yeah. And the funny thing is, Johnny, you were telling us last week, I don't want a guy that's going to go east to west. He wasn't doing it. He was going north to south and getting us. And again, week 1, got a lot to work on. But we came into this game knowing the problems we were having at secondary. And we got Malik Neighbors and Jalen Hyatt this T. Higgins.
It's coming out. It's coming back.
T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
Yeah. Come on, internet.
Here we go.
Okay, we're back.
No, yeah, and like I said, we got Jalen Hyatt and Neighbors this week. We got T. Higgins and Jamar Chase the following week, and then we got Marvin Harrison Jr. after that. So it's not going to get easy for us in that secondary. And like you said, 16 games with these 2 guys, and I mean, we got to figure something out. And I think the problem that we're having is that we always heard about how great, you know, how Joe Witt Jr. and Dan Quinn really elevated the cornerback play with Trayvon Diggs and Bland and all of them in Dallas. Yeah. So we immediately thought, oh, he's going to elevate us. It didn't come to fruition in the first game, Will.
Not even close. Not even close.
No. So real quick, you have any other negatives about the defense? I mean, we could talk about the defense negatively all day. Real quick, we're going to go into the special teams, and I'm going to address this because I don't know. I've been trying to be nice to these kickers because I feel like if I say positive things, maybe positive things will happen. That doesn't work for me. That doesn't. Whenever I like a quarterback, we see what happens. Well, I like the kickers, and Cade York is no longer on the team. He was released, missing a couple field goals. And look, Alex Stevens was telling me if he hits those, he had how many? 2 missed in the first half? Or was just one? Yeah, 2 missed in the first half. You give us those 2 field goals, all of a sudden we're going into the halftime down 3, 16-13. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we talk about momentum and the things that we missed. We were still in that game throughout that first half. And these are the things that take a team that is struggling and keeps them in the game, that elevates them, gives us extra time. Because now, if we're missing these kicks, now all of a sudden now we got to play from behind. And now our defense has to get back on the field. And we've seen what happened with that. So that's definitely a negative. And we've already moved on from that. But I want to say a positive because you know me, I love talking about our guy, Tress Way. Tress only had 3 punts in this game. There was only 3. We're used to him having at least 5 to 7 punts a game and having more yards total. He only had 3, 139 yards. He had a 46-yard average. We know what he can do. But the fact that, okay, he's not punting all the time. Yes, we're not making the kicks, but we are moving the ball. Okay, all right. Try again, grasping at straws, trying to reach for those positives. But, I mean, we know what kind of player he is for us, and the fact that we didn't have to punt all that many times is something I think we should be happy about.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's really disappointing that Cade York did not work out because if you look around the league, he has a strong leg. He has the ability to make it from more than 50 yards, and that's the way the league is. You have to be able to kick a 55-yarder for the team, and we are the type of team where, like Alex was talking about, what's the score differential? We need everything we can, every point we can get this season. And so we can't afford to have a kicker not make it. So it kind of stinks. I was looking at, Brandon Aubrey. He came in, he was a soccer guy, so it's not like this guy was lighting it up in college and then coming up here. So, we need to be able to have a kicker that can be consistent. And it's disappointing that it wasn't able to be him. And now we got to hope this next guy, maybe he can be it.
Just seems like it's a revolving door of kickers, Will. Revolving door of kickers.
It is.
And that's not going to help us. And mind you, I mean, you talk about that one kicker, the one kick that was for 50 plus, it was 56 yards, and it was off just to the right. But again, to your point, I mean, he had the distance, but you got to make those. And the NFL stands for not for long if you can't get that stuff done. So there it is. There it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are done with week 1. We know there's 16 more of these to come, and we're excited. We're still excited because we got a rival coming in, an NFC East rival coming in. We talked to him before the season started, and I think you will, just like you and myself, are very interested to see how he feels after week 1. Got to shout out the Giants fan, Mr. Corey Stevens. What up, Corey?
What's up, guys? How you doing tonight?
Doing well. Doing well. Glad you can join us.
Glad you guys are doing well. It's been a rough week over here.
Both of us. It's bad.
So, man,
I think you were expecting yours a little bit more than I was, probably.
Potentially. Potentially.
But let's talk to us, man. I'm not going to harp on this. 28-6. You lost to Minnesota. Like you said, we all expected something different. We didn't expect that. So, what are your thoughts, man, after that?
It's rough. That was supposed to be a winnable game, and it was not a competitive game at all. So that is either really bad. Maybe Minnesota's great. I don't know, but it was tough. we pretty much we weren't in the game for very long, in my opinion, and it was just there was a little bit of life in the middle of third quarter, and then Daniel Jones threw a pick six, so that kind of took away all the life that we had. I mean, it was a great play by Van Ginkel. Like, I'm not gonna but it was like a quick wide receiver screen, and the defensive end just caught it and just ran it in. So it was like it was a pretty impressive play, but also like when you look at the replay, it looks pretty obvious that he's kind of right there. So I'm like, maybe I don't know. Maybe you don't throw. It probably is a lot faster than I'm giving it credit for. So I mean, it is what it is. But the offense was not impressive, which probably to be expected. I am trying to remind myself that Jones is coming off of an ACL, and like it isn't going to it's something that I think people keep forgetting. Now I don't know if it's an excuse, but at least I'm hoping it is. And then defensively, they were just like, it's a new system, new defensive coordinator, so I didn't really know, what type of scheme they were going to run. But coming from Wink Martindale, where it's just like send the house pretty much like every other play, so we were like rushing 4 and dropping 7, and we're just like not any good. So like it was just, I think the chaos of Martindale helped mask how bad we might have been at times, and like made up for some of those kind of differences. But like defense was super unimpressive. Yes, this weekend. So that's probably the most concerning part.
Yeah, your expensive new free agent signing. Did he have any like impactful plays?
So I think he had 4 tackles. None were for a loss. One was a really nice hustle play that like stood out to me, that he made a tackle like 8 yards downfield on the other side of the field, from where he lined up. Like all right, he's like engaged in the game type of thing. Yeah. But I was really unimpressed. Like felt like I still didn't know who. Like he didn't feel like I heard his name get called ever, and he wasn't out there. Since then, I've like been listening to the talk radio, whatever. I heard Phil Simms actually was talking about it this morning on the radio, and he said that that Burns was actually pretty disruptive and was just kind of like almost getting there, but then the ball was coming out type of situation. Which maybe I didn't watch the film, so maybe I just didn't pick up on it, but like to not have any sort of flash play from him was just like deflating a little bit, I think. Mm-hmm. And they double teamed Dexter Lawrence the whole game, and it didn't make Thibodeau and Burns got no sacks. Thibodeau actually was the worst. This is probably the most concerning, worst graded defender on the team for the week was Thibodeau, according to PFF.
Don't worry, he's got his get right game. Washington,
I know.
His
get
right
game. I hope so, because he just noticeably even worse. Like Burns just like didn't stand out. Yeah, but you didn't notice him. Like you noticed Thibodeau was no good. Like it was, which is not a good sign. So I don't know what's going on there. But if the defensive line isn't going to be good, that's what you invested in. Like it's scary.
Right. But so yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, you were going into the season, you're like, I'm really excited to see what we have in Brian Burns and match him up alongside. Like I'm excited to see what this new defensive line does. Yeah. But everyone has eyes on the offense. Everybody has eyes on Daniel Jones. So what happened out there? It's year 3, Corey. It's the 3rd year with these guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's only the 3rd year with Daniel Jones. 4 of the offensive linemen are new this year or were rookies last year. That's new. Okay. So I think that was definitely a part of it. Like I thought the line looked really good preseason, but like we talked about it then. Like I know this isn't real, so like. Yeah. Is it, what's it going to translate to? And it wasn't as good. And then Jones, I think, obviously has his issues. And so I think the injury or like being, not having a lot of reps, I think matters. Okay. I don't know that changes a whole lot. But you guys mentioned like Neighbors looked good. Neighbors was solid. We need to throw him the ball more and let him just go up and like I would just try to catch it. And who cares? Like one.
He's going to get a number of targets this week.
I would expect so if we could get the ball off, but yeah, I would expect him to. But none of the other Wan'Dale Robinson was okay. He caught a lot of underneath balls. He probably had like 6 or 7 catches for 50 yards, you know. But Jalen Hyatt was the worst graded offensive player, which is extremely disappointing because I needed him to take a step forward. A lot of the rookies didn't grade super well, which, okay, so what? It's their first game. But the offensive line was not very good. I think they'll get better. They're supposed to be better. So I'm hoping it was just kind of like a preseason type game situation. Like they haven't played enough together in real live reps against a real live scheme. And I think maybe Minnesota's a little bit better than people maybe thought. I think they're established anyways, right? The people aren't high on Minnesota because of Sam Darnold, but the rest of the Minnesota people are high on, and they showed it. And Darnold was extremely competent. Like he looked like a veteran quarterback should look like. 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, got the ball out on time, hit the right people. Like it looked competent, like like none of us have seen in a long time at the quarterback position,
right?
Which is even
wow.
And it's freaking Sam Darnold. I'm going into the game going, it's Sam Darnold. There's no way we can lose this game. It's Sam Darnold, and he had 5 incompletions the whole day. It picked us apart.
I was gonna say there was a guy in my neighborhood who was like talking about he's a Vikings fan, which I was like, who's a Vikings fan in South Carolina? That's not a thing. But I said, I'm intrigued to see what Sam Darnold does because Kevin O'Connell went and got him. And I can say this, Kevin O'Connell made Dwayne Haskins look pretty darn decent his rookie year in Washington. So like you're saying, like you're right to say like everyone's thinking it's Sam Darnold, but we're forgetting like O'Connell's a good offensive mind. And I think he was looking for someone he's kind of like that. He wants that Kirk Cousins from Mike Shanahan or Kyle Shanahan. He's like, I just want someone to take care of the ball and go where it's supposed to. That's what I'm looking for out here, And it seems like in week 1, when no one has film right now, he got that.
Yeah, exactly. And Aaron Jones is a solid running back. I don't know much about their offensive line, but they ran the ball pretty effectively. They opened up some holes. So I'm assuming that they're probably at least a better half of the league offensive line because they have been established for a couple of years to protect Kirk Cousins. But on defense, like the Van Ginkel guy's good. Like he's a game disruptor, and he's I loved him on Hard Knocks with the Dolphins, and then he got hurt last year, right? So like he was good. He impacted the game the whole time. He was one of the most noticeable people. So
it's just the name Van Ginkel.
Yeah, he looks like a Van Ginkel too with the hair and everything. It's perfect. Oh, yeah. It fits him very well. But so I don't know. I'm hoping that it's a preseason and there's time to improve, and the Vikings are better than people thought, and couldn't have asked for a better time to face the Washington Commanders. So it's a great time.
We know Daniel Jones' record against us. 5-1.
So he better feel good, But he got booed. He got booed on the 3rd play of the game.
Jeez.
Oh, like he's dealing. Which sucks because I don't understand. Like you want the guy to be good and you just kill him in the first. It's just you give him no hope. So I don't know. Hopefully that'll change, which it won't. The talk radio is the weirdest part of the talk radio is everybody wants Tommy DeVito to start. Like Drew Lock doesn't even exist. Like skip right over Drew Lock. Like I just want Tommy Cutlets. Like that's what they want, and I'm just like, oh my god, like he can't possibly be the best option, can he?
Right, we're doing this again.
It's week 1, and we're already talking about freaking the 3rd string, not even the 2nd string quarterback that was active, the 3rd string quarterback on the practice squad.
Right.
Look. I'm not trying to pile on, but how much do y'all miss Saquon, especially after we saw what he did in Philly, and that kills us.
Ask me what Saquon's stat line would have been if he played for the Giants this week. Because I'm telling you, it wouldn't have been 100+ yards with 3 touchdowns. I'm getting 100% guarantee you that. I heard someone talking about it with the Jets and Breece Hall, and I've always felt this way about Saquon. Saquon is a home run hitter. He's not a move the chains running back. Like he doesn't just stick his stick his nose in the or foot in the ground and get 4 yards and just accept that. Like it's never his thing. So he fits perfectly for the Eagles because he's getting the ball in 2nd and 1 situations where he can freaking do like he has more freedom and more space in that offense where they're not just like it's not a traditional hand the ball off type of offense. He never fit what we want as an identity. Like I don't so it's like hard to say because I mean, he's been like he didn't do that for us last year one time, you know. He didn't one game like that. So I just don't. Yeah. It says more about what the Eagles do, I think, than it does about Saquon.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
I miss him. I guess I want to win. I miss winning. I don't care about the name on the back. Like I want to win. Yeah. So I don't know
because he's not like the typical Giants running back when you got in the Super Bowl where you had like the Brandon Jacobs or Otis Anderson or Hampton, like those guys that are going north and south downhill all the time.
Move the ball and control the game. Yeah, we didn't have that. So and I'm very concerned he is going to put up a lot of points on us when he comes back to town. It is going to be a beat down, in my opinion. So
we're not looking forward to him either.
No.
But how did you guys come out of this game injury wise?
The only thing I saw is Darius Slayton in concussion protocol.
Saw that.
And then like a bunch of like a couple of depth DBs, linebackers with some things, but too early to tell. I didn't hear of anything made. Like I don't remember hearing like, you know, so-and-so is going to be out. There was nobody got carted off this week, you know, none of those types of things. So I think we made it out pretty good.
Right.
The game was over. The fourth quarter was basically like it was basically another preseason game. Once Daniel Jones threw the pick six, it was 28-6 with 4 minutes to go in the fourth. The game was over. So I think it was ready, or probably made a lot of business decisions after that.
Right. Well, again, you get Washington this week.
Right.
That's right.
So we are equally as well. We're struggling as well. We did put up some late points, yes, but we're still struggling. But look, ladies and gentlemen, we know why we're here, and we always got to give our keys to victory.
I'll have them next time.
There you go.
So, you know, for those of you that don't know, ladies and gentlemen, we always go around the horn, and everybody does. We always do 2 keys of victory, but we do one around and one again. Corey, so we'll give it to you first. What is your first key to victory this week?
Key to victory, defensive line has to be present in this game. Dexter Lawrence was awesome last week, and he just ate up double teams. Like they single covered him on the first play of the game, and he just went right by him and sacked them, and then was getting doubled and triple teamed after that. So the other guys need to step up, and maybe not necessarily in sacks, but we just got to make Jaden Daniels stay in the pocket, be a passer. His first instinct's going to be to run. We got to kind of be smart in the way that we rush the passer this week so that we're ready for him to come underneath. We're ready for all that sort of stuff because how many carries? He had like 15, 16 carries last week, right? So that's his instincts always going to be that for now. So besides the designed ones. So I think we got to contain him, make him be a passer. And obviously our secondary is not great. So that maybe is a problem, but I don't think he threw the ball 10 yards down the field last week. So it's, tackle the ball and score some points on offense, which should in theory be there.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Will, what you got, man?
So I'm going to kind of piggyback off what Corey was saying. And so I'm going to name John Bates as someone who is going to be someone we're going to have to lean on. Because if you just sit there with our 5 offensive linemen, I think Burns and I think Thibodeau are going to have some fun against Lucas and Wiley, and if Brandon Coleman's in there. And I think, you already said that the Vikings double teamed Lawrence, so that means you're leaving those tackles out on an island. That's not a recipe for our success. So I'm looking at our best blocking tight end and us having to go 12 personnel and utilizing John Bates to chip on one of those two sides. Because we are, like, to what Corey's saying, we are going to have to control that pass rush to give Jaden an opportunity. And we have seen Thibodeau hit a third of his sacks in his career have come against Washington. This is the game where he just this guy sucks for like weeks at a time, and then he blows up against us. And I'm like,
37 grade on PFF this week. 37.
Yeah. He'll be 87 on Sunday, because he's playing against Washington. So it's like they're going to have to key on that to make sure that they aren't letting that be a thing, because it's always a thing when we play the Giants.
Always. Yeah, always. For me, I guess it's just going to piggyback off it to kind of neutralize that pass rush. We got to run the ball, and we've got to run successfully. I mean, 4 or 5 yards of carry, getting downfield, constantly hitting them with doses of Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. These two guys, Eckler and Brian Robinson, need to be electric in that run game, potentially coming out of the backfield in the pass game, screens, whatever. We have got to be able to take away that threat of the pass rush. Because to both your points.
Oh, they were good points too.
Is it not me? Is it his internet?
It's got to be him.
Oh, we've always thought it was me. Right now it's his.
Are we back?
He's coming.
No. I can hear you.
There's audio.
His face is stuck.
Yep.
Are we back?
Oh,
we are. There you go.
Welcome back.
You're good. Go with your points.
See, nobody's moving.
Oh.
So, we got to run the ball, and we got to run that successfully.
We agree. Yep.
Okay. There we go. All right.
Now he's spinning. Now
that's
really
real
spinning.
bad.
Yeah. All right. Well, so Sean's obviously point is controlling the clock, controlling the line of scrimmage, utilizing our running backs, just to not let you all tee off on Jaden. Yeah. What would be your second key to victory?
Daniel Jones. He has to be competent. So, there was an interesting point in the game. It was 21-6. We had just gotten a field goal to make it 21-6 and then gotten a stop and got the ball back. And it was like, in my head, it was one of those times. It was like, man, 2 years ago when we were decent, we went and got a touchdown on this drive. Like that, like we had just made a stop. We had built, like we were finishing strong in the second half of games. And I said, all right, this is an opportunity. Like he's going to go and drive us down the field and get us to within one score and show everybody that like he's okay. Right. And then he threw a pick six and it was like, oh boy. So he has to be an average NFL quarterback, and I think we'll be fine. But that's it.
Well, and I mean, when you play Washington, he turns into Danny Dimes.
That's right. So it's a get-right game for everybody here. That's what we're hoping for. Please, we'd love for you to oblige.
It is. It's the get-right game every year for.
You're used to it, so it's no problem. You're already prepared. It's great. It works for everybody. I thank you.
Yeah, it's all true. Yeah. I mean, I was sitting there going like, usually you want to say, let's stop one portion, and so they focus on the other. And it's like, I'm looking at your running backs and like, no offense, like Devin Singletary's never been someone that concerns me. I know there's some hype about Tyrone Tracy, but I'm like, I'm not too worried about their running game. But it's like, but that doesn't mean let's have them focus on passing. That's our weakness too, And I can't sit here and say, take away, don't let him be Danny Dimes because we don't really have that built into us. Yeah. So my way to potentially take away Danny Dimes is going to say, keep the momentum. There's going to be a lot of excitement on Sunday with it being the home opener, Jaden Daniels' first game, Dan Quinn's first game, the new regime with Harris taking over and putting his stamp on the team. There's going to be excitement. There's going to be Giants fans at the game, but there should be a decent amount of Commander fans that are going to be heard. They need to, from the kick, they can't have a 3-and-out like they did against Tampa to start the game. And just everyone in the seats are going to sit back and be deflated. They got to get points early. They need to keep the crowd into it so they stay into it. Yes. So I'm saying, like, Sean, you're going to love this. feed Terry on one of the very first passes, so you get a first down to Terry McLaurin. The fans are going to start cheering because you actually threw it. You're throwing it to the favorite player. I would even run JD5. I would let him get an easy first down. That's going to get the crowd so excited when he runs outside and gets you a first down. So get points early by know exactly what your strengths are, what some of your bread and butter plays right now, and do it, script it in your first 15 plays. So you get down there, you get some points, and you're able to, everyone can start feeding off that.
Yeah. And for me, it's finish drives. We have to finish drives. We know we cannot rely on our kicker. We have not had good luck with kickers since Dustin Hopkins, and we know what he ended up doing. Now he's with the Chargers or something. So we have got to score touchdowns against that defense. And that's it. Simple as that. Like, we got to score in the red zone. We got to score touchdowns.
I'll just take any scoring. How about that?
Well,
we haven't scored a touchdown yet. I think it took us 3 games last year, so hopefully we can do.
Well, you're playing us, so we know you guys get a reprieve. We'll see, man. We 5-1-1 against Daniel Jones.
Gone. That's no good.
Oh,
yeah. Now we're back. It's like all of us are having.
It's flipping.
Yeah. I think I saw a stat that Daniel Jones has more pick sixes than touchdown passes since he signed his big contract, which is horrible numbers.
Yeah.
3-2. It's not even like hot. At least it was 7-6 or so. He had even 2 touchdown passes in 2 years.
Good gracious. That's I feel for you, man. I feel for you. Well, not this week, but after this, I feel. So look, let's go ahead. Hopefully my internet can hold up. Score predictions. Corey, what do you think the score is going to be in this game, man?
Oh, I hope for our sake it's not this score so we can have a little bit of excitement. But I've got 14-13 Giants.
Yeah. It's believable. Will, what you think?
I know. I sit here and go like, okay, so we're both complaining about our secondary. So is it going to be high scoring? Or is it going to be the typical Giants-Washington game where it is in the teens? So
horrible to watch.
Yeah. So let's go. I'll go 19-16. And it's going to be Austin Siebert. It's going to have to make the kicks.
Yep. I was literally thinking 19-17, and it's going to be like a safety or something that's going to separate us. But I'm going to
run out the end zone.
Right. Yeah. It's going to be something like that. But I'm going to go 21-17. I think JD5 is going to get just 3 touchdowns, and we'll be able to kind of hold you guys at bay towards the end. But it's going to come down to the wire.
It's going to be close. They always are.
Hopefully no more ties.
Yes.
Last time we had a tie, so I don't want that.
Yeah, win or loss. That's it. That's all. No ties here.
Yeah. Yeah. Then we play you guys. Like, do we have a bye week and then play you guys after, and then you guys beat us after?
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest here. That was that phantom. Terry lined up incorrectly when we scored the game-winning score. But
you're a ref guy, Will. You know there's no such thing as phantom calls. You know, it was he was lined up wrong. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
That ref said, "Yeah, you're good. You're good." No, you're not.
Right? Yeah. Snap the ball. No.
Flag.
He thought he was asking him a different question. That was all.
Right.
He said, "Are you gonna lose?" Yeah, you're gonna lose. That's what he was asking.
Yeah. Did I bet on you? Yeah. I bet on you.
You're right.
Right.
You're good. Yo, Corey. Again, we appreciate you. You stuck with us even amid my internet issues. Hopefully our team is better than my Wi-Fi right now. But we're here. We're glad you came on here to talk to us again. Like I said, from a whole family of mean Giants fans, you're the nicest Giants fan I know. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks
Hopefully
for
I can
having
have
us,
the same excitement after the game, but
Go Big Blue.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Danny Dimes back in real life. Here he is.
Oh, earn that money this weekend.
The resurrection of Daniel Jones.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right, Corey. Appreciate you, man.
Guys. All right.
Yeah, buddy. Oh, man. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to head out. We appreciate y'all joining us. Hey, real quick, I did want to put this up. James Earl Jones just passed. Those of you know him maybe through Lion King, maybe through Star Wars. I mean, so many different roles.
Sandlot,
right? Yeah, so many different roles, so many different things. Yo, do you remember in the late 80s, early 90s, remember when they used to do the commercials for the Yellow Pages?
Yes.
Wasn't he that guy?
Yes,
Wasn't
he
he the one that did
was.
that? Oh, man, this guy had his hands in everything, and you know, it's terrible. I was on a show with Anthony the other day, and he was the one who told me, and I was like, oh my goodness, yeah. So we're lost another great one, man. So R.I.P. James Earl Jones, and you will definitely be missed.
Yes.
So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we are out of here. Washington back again another week playing the New York Football Giants. Hopefully, we can get that dub, get back on the right track. Voice of CNN. Yep.
Didn't know that.
We had to finish everything on our side of the field, 3 or 6 points. Oh, yeah, I agree. Got to score. Got to score for sure. Well, here, we got to head out of here. For my guy, Mr. Will Kramer, it is your boy, Sean Spencer. We will most definitely see you guys next time. Stay tuned. I think Johnny Dean is doing a pick'em show a little bit later on. I'll send out that link. And I don't know if the ladies' show is going to be tomorrow, but I know Washington Football Roundtable is coming up soon in a couple of days. We got a bunch of stuff going. Football season's back, so we're going to keep this thing moving, man. So for my guy, Will, it's your boy, Sean. We will see y'all next time. Peace, people.